Hello and welcome back. So I thought I'd just do a little bit of my biking history. So starting back when I was 16 years old, I had a Suzuki ZR50 X1. Fantastic little bike, had a little bit of a Molossi overboard kit on it, really used to zip around, loved it. My brother ended up getting this for me. He was kind of my inspiration for bikes. So then moved on when I was 17 to the RXS 100 Yamaha, great little bike again. My brother procured this one for me, and again, that was a great little bike, used to keep up with most 125s. Fast forward now on to age 35, passed my test, and then on to 40 when I got back into bikes, midlife crisis, and bought myself this, the VFR 800. Great little bike, great fun, but was riddled with electrical problems. Wanted to tour, so in addition to that, I made the big mistake of buying a Honda Varadero XL 1000, and in one day I got recovered twice, once on this and once on the VFR. Traded in then for the Tracer 900 as it was at the time. This was the bike that I did my first ever big trip around Europe, along with my brother and a friend of mine. That's his R80 RT in the background. Then I moved on, sold that, and bought the Triumph Thunderbird 1700. Fantastic bike, great memories, one of the favourites for me and Mrs. Perky. Really regret selling. Moving on, while I still had that, I also bought myself the Bandit 1250. Great little bike, really good at handling, confidence inspiring for those wanting a fairly quick bike. But both of them got sold, and then I moved on to the BMW S1000 XR. This was second hand, really loved it, always wanted it. Had it for about a year or so and decided that I would upgrade to a brand new triple black edition, which I had for probably a year or so. Again, great bike. This one was flashed and was putting out a little bit extra. Before I then sold and moved on to the Fat Bob 114. So this was my first foray into Harley Davidson. Great little bike, very expensive though, and servicing costs were astronomical. I decided to sell based on the amount of money tied up in one bike. Then I had this alongside it for a short while, which was CBF 1000. Again, great little bike, but a bit cramped for someone like me who has dodgy knees. So I decided that was one to move on and get something with a bit more leg room. So after selling it on to my other brother, I then invested in KTM 1190, always liked the sound of them, but soon found that when away on a trip in hot weather, this is something that really roasts your chestnuts. Too much heat comes up, makes it really uncomfortable to ride, so this was one that was going to get moved on. In the meantime, I had bought this for a princely sum of a few £100, put it back on the road, redid all this bodywork, made it look really nice, but found that wasn't really for me, since it was a little bit too old school, and after having a few incidents with it, it was decided that I'm better off with something much more upright. Again, the dodgy knees were playing a bearing, and just too much of an old school bike for me. So the Thundercat got sold and the KTM got traded for this, a Tiger XR-T. Great bike, really nice to ride, but just a little bit too top heavy when two up and with full luggage. So that was decided after a brief sort of 6-month period, coupled with the fact that we had a big trip for Switzerland coming up to celebrate our 50th, to upgrade to the Tiger GT Pro that I have now. Fantastic bike, really love it, Wendy loves it, and little mini Perky loves it too. It's given us many a great memory, and really nice to ride, great all-round performer. So that moved on. I got rid of the CBF 1000, and this was the little bit of fun that I bought, which was a Triumph Speed Twin. Great bike, had some great memories on it, but only issue was that the torque on it became so addictive it made you quite an aggressive rider. So decided that in the interest of keeping a license, I would move on to something a little bit more laid back. So queuing up to present day, and the second bike I have, as most of you may know, is the Harley Davidson XL 1200 CX. This is the Roadster of the Sportster range. Now, didn't start off with the high bars or the forward pegs, as most people who like Harleys Sportsters would know, but to make it comfortable for someone tall like me, that had to be done. Great bike, really loving it, and we'll see where that goes. So a lot of bikes in the history so far, but one thing always struck a little chord with me, and that was my first bike. So when I'd outgrown the ZR50 X1, this was sold on to my brother. He used it for a few years, and then was kept away in his lockup for a few more years after that. Not wanting it to see it ever go to waste, and it was just sitting there. I then bought it back from him, and here it is sitting in my garage, and it's halfway through some sort of renovation, a very costly renovation, but it is a labour of love, because I just wouldn't want to see it ever go to scrap. So maybe I'll do something about this again in the future, but there we have it, a whistle-stop tour of all the bikes that I've had. Mainly most of them in the last 11 years, quite a lot bikes, but yeah, I have changed them a lot, and maybe I've now found my right ones, but who knows, let's see. So there we go, that's all my bikes. If you've had any of these, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.